welcome to Conversations. I'm Barbara Kanellopoulos, and our program invites you to listen in while I talk to some people in Falmouth who might be your friends or neighbors about their work, their lives, and about the things they care about. I'm pleased today to be talking to Gerry, Lynn, Galati, who has recently become the president of a not well-known Falmouth organization that has been around for 30 years, but you may not have heard about it. Welcome to the program, Gerry, and tell us and our viewers about Around the Table.
Around the Table is an all-volunteer organization that serves anybody in need of a hot meal 3 days a week. We are open Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 11:15 to 12:30.
So that calling it a soup kitchen isn't probably the best name for it.
No, it's not. We serve wonderful hot meals that are usually a full course meal, just like you would almost go out to a restaurant. They're
Really?
home cooked, and we'll have soup, and we'll have some kind of roast or chicken or ham, and usually a vegetable and a potato, usually dessert, juice.
Excellent, excellent. So that's from soup to nuts,
Soup to
not
nuts.
not just a sandwich and a soup.
Soup.
Well, now the program has been run by Celine Hawley for many years. I think she was president since 1994. So it's been going on for a long time, but we don't really have much of its history. Let's talk about how it all got started.
The soup kitchen started and was established in 1985, and it was established with Kalina Cummings and Peter Kerwin. Started the first soup kitchen, which was down in the Armory and on Jones Road, which is now the Falmouth District Court.
Oh yes, our viewers may not know
No,
that
but-
we used to be the National Guard Armory.
That's
there.
correct.
And now it's the court. And so Peter Kerwin, I remember that he died about 5 years ago, but he was director of Falmouth Human Services, and well-loved and well-respected social worker in Falmouth. I wonder if we can get his pictures on the screen. And so it was Peter then who had the idea, probably with some other people. Colleen Cummings was with the service center, one of the coordinators, I think. And so then after it got started, they really were serving lunches in the armory.
Yes, that's correct.
Right. So what happened then? Did they move later?
They moved in 1987. We now work out of St. Barnabas Parish House. We are very blessed that they allow us to operate from that location. We are a separate organization from the church itself, but we are there the 3 days a week for the people. And
Right. And so does Around the Table have to pay for having the meals served there at the parish house?
we do not.
Oh,
We are very blessed that
Yes.
they allow us to use that hall free of charge. Most of our food is all donations or community donations for money for us to buy food to prepare these hot meals for them.
I think we have a photograph of one of the showing viewers when the soup kitchen moved from the Armory to St. Barnabas.
Yes.
I think it was showing Colleen Cummings and Celine Hawley, who until recently was the president. I wonder if we can see that photograph of those women. Oh, there they are. Well, perhaps you can identify them.
On the left-hand side is Leslie Sullivan, who is our treasurer. In the middle is Celine Hawley, who was our president. And on the right-hand side is Olive Thayer, who is our secretary.
So now, you were, before becoming president, you were vice president for a long time. When did you join the organization?
I joined the organization in 2001 as a volunteer working the second Friday of the month. The thing that we do is everybody that volunteers has a shift that they work on. We rotate them shifts. You work one day, usually a month, on the shift, and I happen to be the second Friday for many years. And then I went on to the board as a regular board member, and then when John Mignani took sick a couple of years ago and had to step down, I stepped up to vice president.
Well, it's being president of an organization like that, considering that on an average week, you might, around the table, may serve close to 60 meals, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So that's quite a task. Now, do you manage to delegate to other people some tasks so that it doesn't all fall on your shoulders?
Yes. My organization is very well oiled, as they say. People seem to know what to do. A lot of them have been there for many years. They all come in and they have a meal plan for their particular shift they work on. They set up their coffee. I can leave them little notes that things need to be done, like fill sugar bowls, or if you this particular day, can you clean out the fridge for me? And people have been wonderful doing things like that. And the board and the officers help me out with some of the running around and some of the talking to people on the phone or taking calls for me and helping me to do other things.
Who does the shopping for food?
I do that presently. Leslie Sullivan does help me. A lot of our food donations are donations. I really do not buy that much food, which is very surprising. The community is so generous to us.
Oh, very good. And so the funding is entirely from private donations?
That is correct.
That's really very encouraging. It certainly tells us something about Falmouth as a community full of people who have a lot of empathy for others who may not have all the advantages. And it's really interesting that the organization is, as you say, well-oiled. It's been around for a long time, so that it's nice to have it running smoothly. It means your job is much easier.
That's true.
Right.
They have helped me a lot to take the transition from going from Celine being the president to me trying to take over her position.
Right. The volunteers now, that means that the meals that are put out every week are done by a small team of volunteers. How many do you have on for, say, one shift, a Monday shift?
Right now we run anywhere from 4 to 6 people on a shift, just depending which day. Some shifts we do need some volunteers on, but it also depends on your meal. Some of our volunteers do work a couple of shifts a month, which is very nice of them. But they all kind of have their own little niches in the shift itself. One usually is the cook, one is the group leader, sometimes they're both, and they all kind of have their ways that they do their little things. They go in, they have lots of fun. A lot of them I hear laugh and giggle and really enjoy themselves. And
it's nice that they have a certain amount of independence to design the menu and to do what they're good at, which makes it very nice. The people who come, there are no requirements for, say, income for people who might come to have a meal?
No, we ask no questions. We have people that come from all over.
Great.
And you can tell that the people, some of them that do come in, do need the meals a lot. But we do get all kinds of people in there from, you can tell that somebody we've had at one time, we had a lady that was living on the street that used to come and eat, to people that just are having a hard time because they lost their job and they have no income or they just need a meal that day. We are there to give them something to eat.
And how nice that people find some companionship as well.
This.
Do you find that, have you found over the years that some friendships blossom among the people who come to eat?
You can. There's little groups that come in and they sit together and they congregate and they'll tell me sometimes, Mary's coming, she's on her way, so that we know to plan for them. They always say thank you when they leave. They really appreciate their meals. We are very blessed with the clients we get and the volunteers.
Very nice. Now, on the thinking about the situation with volunteers, since I would think that since volunteers have such a good time that you have plenty and don't need any, but do you need volunteers?
We are in need of volunteers, and we are in need of people that just want to be a sub on the volunteer list. A sub person is somebody that we put on the sub list, so a regular volunteer, if they can't make it that day or they're sick, they can call somebody and there's a list that they can say, can you work for me that day? So some people like work on the sub list because they can work on different shifts. They don't have to stay to a particular shift, so they get to work with a lot of different people.
And actually, too, your volunteers are getting along in years. In fact, I think you represent the younger generation among the volunteers for around the table, so that you would be needing volunteers to fill in for somebody who might be ill or not able to make it, particularly in bad weather.
That is true. The last I knew, Celine told me I was still the youngest volunteer at the soup kitchen.
Good.
So we are looking for more people.
And it's a wonderful way for someone to use some leisure time. Most people who volunteer are retired, and so there's great companionship to be found. I know that I volunteer one Monday, and it's great fun. It's fun to be there. I was going to ask about also the need for having volunteers call in. If someone of our viewers would like to join up and be part of the organization, there's a number that they can call. I think it's Jeannie who takes care of those things.
Yes.
Perhaps we can get that phone number up on the screen so that people can call, and so we'll have to tell Jeannie to be sure to expect lots of calls for people who might want to sign up. So the future then of Around the Table is going to continue for let's hope for the next decade, because it has been so valuable. I wonder if it's Falmouth's only soup kitchen.
I am unsure of that, but I do know we are hoping to get the word out that there is a lot of people that do not realize that we are there for them. So we are hoping that like this program and some of the other works that we are doing will bring people that we can help.
What is describe some of the different meals that people could look forward to having? For example, Thanksgiving.
The Wednesday before Thanksgiving, we do a full big Thanksgiving dinner that has a turkey and cranberry sauce and stuffing and squash and peas and turnip and potatoes, and there's usually 3 or 4 different kinds of pies, apple cider. On Christmas, the Jewish Congregation Church comes in and serves for us because most of the people, it's a holiday for us and not for them, and they usually do a turkey or a ham, and they have potatoes and a vegetable and dessert, and sometimes there's presents for Christmas that their parishioners donate for
Very nice.
that particular meal. A regular standard meal, like my next shift that I work, we are going to be having pork and potatoes and a vegetable. We might have soup, and we'll have either pie or a cake for dessert.
Those are really wonderful meals. And now the donations come from various places. I think it's what local companies or grocery stores provide things.
Windfall Market gives us every week bread and desserts and bakery goods. We have some of the ships give us food from Hui. Heritage Assisted Living donates food to us. Sometimes some of the churches do if they have a big event and there is stuff left over. And after that, it is stuff that we buy, or different people just stop and there is a couple that brings us cases of like vegetables and cases of coffee. Sometimes they just show up at the back door.
Oh, really?
That is how we get a lot of our food and stuff.
No, that's very nice. Do you know, people who study human behavior that recently have put out a study that as people become more affluent, as if they find that they have advantages in life, that this study said that people become less empathetic. That means to me that Falmouth citizens are really anomalies, because you find that people who have advantages, they'll have stable lives and perhaps a stable economic situation, but because of that they're willing to think about and be empathetic toward those people who don't have as much and maybe are in need. And this is why we have so many volunteers, and I think it speaks well of Falmouth as a community that there's this willingness to think about other people and to do for them. So it is really a very worthwhile organization, and I'm sure you're happy to be part of it.
I am. I have been for many years. I'm very thrilled with it.
Yes, that's good. And let's hope that that this will continue on to the next decade, and we will be talking about it in the future. Thanks so much for being here and for telling us about Around the Table. And I look forward to having you join us for our next program of conversations with Falmouth people. Thank you for viewing.